Rams, you would have assumed going into that game, are a more well-coached team. They will be prepared for the moment. They know their backs are against the wall in a tight NFC West race, which is, it feels like in the NFC, the West is a one-bid division. You win that division, you get in. There's no wild card teams coming out of the NFC West. The Rams needed this one last night. The Eagles, playing with house money a bit after the Commanders dropped that game against the Cowboys. The Eagles were dominant. Outside of like the first couple of drives, it didn't feel like those were two teams that belonged on the same playing field. And Saquon Barkley was the difference, sequence in and sequence out. I don't want to be prisoner of the moment, but damn it, I'll fall into that trap right now today, C-Cat. The Eagles are 9-2. The Eagles don't have the best record in the NFC, nor do they have the best perception from the outside looking in, from the public. The Philadelphia Eagles are the team to beat in the NFC this year. Jalen Hurts led. They did last night was without Devontae Smith, by the way, their Heisman-winning wide receiver, their number 2 guy, and they dropped 37 on the Rams. This Jalen Hurts-led team, now that the defense is kind of on an uptick, Vic Fangio has found his way, starting to figure out how to use these puzzle pieces that have been so like skillfully crafted together. Like, they got a bunch of big names on this defense. Now it's starting to figure itself out. All those former Georgia Bulldogs being pivotal on big downs. Last night, that defense held Matt Stafford, future Hall of Fame quarterback Matt Stafford, to 0 for 8 on third downs. They can get off the field. We talked about earlier in the year, you need 3 things for me to feel confident in your football team to be a contender. It's a quarterback I can trust, a defense I can trust, and a coach I can trust. I'm still shaky on Nick Sirianni. I got to be honest. But I think I have so much faith in it's almost like the amount of ways in which that offense can kill you with Jalen Hurts. I have so much faith in that offensive line, and when they have both of their receivers healthy, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith being able to win. I have a lot of faith now in Vic Fangio being able to scheme ways up for this defense to get off the field on pivotal downs. And if Nick Sirianni can stay the hell out of the way, and I think last night, those who have insight into it feel like he might have even out-coached Sean McVay. I don't know how you do that when we don't really know what his role is other than saying, let's go for it on 4th down. If Nick Sirianni stays out of the way, the Eagles definitively feel like the best team in the NFC, the team to beat. Their only 2 losses this year, they have some heavy asterisks by them. That's all I'll say. I like this Eagles team. I don't care what the Lions and the Vikings are doing. This is the team I would be most afraid to play in the playoffs because of Saquon Barkley, because of Jalen Hurts. And again, there is nothing that you can use to replicate what A.J. Brown is on a football field. As a blocker, as a ball winner, as a deep threat, as a third down conversion guy. Like, A.J. Brown himself, if he's healthy, makes this team totally different. And some of those losses earlier in the year, he wasn't available. This Eagles team is the team to beat.
Yeah, they're good. They're very good. And I look at the past 2 years, and you look at who represented the NFC in the Super Bowl. And you see the 49ers who won't be there anymore.
No, they're done. They're eliminated.
The nails in the coffin. Poor San Francisco fans. Another letdown year after a letdown Super Bowl appearance.
Told y'all.
Who said that? It was you, right?
All summer long I've been saying it's more likely they miss the playoffs to make it back to the Super Bowl, and I called them as the team that would not make the playoffs, and here they are, 1-3 in their division. A game back technically, but they have none of the tiebreakers in the NFC West. And guess who they got to play next week? The Bills, the Buffalo Bills. They had a lot of good injury luck last year in San Francisco. Now they're relegating back to what they've been in the past, the team that seems to get riddled with injury at the wrong time. Sorry, I'm not relishing in their loss. It just was very foreseeable.
So the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and most credit goes to the coordinators on that team. Nick Sirianni, what does he really do for the Eagles? The coordinators all got scooped up for a reason because of how great of a job they did on both sides of the football. And we talk about the path that the Eagles had to make it to that Super Bowl 2 years ago when they faced off against the Chiefs. Very easy games. Yeah. Once Brock Purdy was out of the 49ers game, that NFC Championship game was a formality. It was easy, whatever. I think they played the Giants in one of those first-round games
they played
as
the Giants. The first game was against the Giants as the 1 seed. The Giants beat the Vikings. That was the point differential Vikings.
Yes.
The Kirk Cousins, they're worst in their record. I think a 13-win team. So the Giants squeaked past them. That's what gets Brian Daboll Coach of the Year. That's what that was talk about a game of inches. That Giants win over the Vikings and then making the playoffs in the first place. that changed a lot of things in a bad way for the Giants franchise. But back to the point you were making.
Yeah, so the two contenders in the NFC. Who is the team to beat in the NFC? You're saying definitively you are convinced, no doubt about it, it's the Eagles. The other leader in the clubhouse has got to be the Lions, and I think the Lions made it one quarter away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I trust that the Lions can replicate what they did last year, if not better, in 2024. Then the Eagles can replicate what they did in 2023 and 2024.
It is.
Or 2022 and 2024.
Right. Like the 2 years ago versus what the Lions were able to do last year. And the 49ers, the team that both teams needed to get through to make the Super Bowl, are out of it. So
I think what's more impressive what the Lions did to the 49ers. Still lose the game. Hold a lead in the second half on the road. I trust that. I'm more impressed by that from the Lions than I am the Eagles making the run to the Super Bowl because of how easy their path was.
So the one factor that I'll go back to, the tiebreaker for me in this that gives me the Eagles the edge over the Lions, is going to be the lack of Aiden Hutchinson. Like I think he means that much to that defense, and they're getting by without him. And yes, they added Zadarius Smith at the deadline, which is going to help on the front. He's a good edge rusher. I think that culture-wise on that defense, the amount of a threat that he is, not just as a pass rusher on third downs, but just on every down, he's one of those engine guys that just gets after it every single time he lines up. They're going to miss having Aiden Hutchinson on that defensive front. Now, maybe he's able to come back by the championship game or the Super Bowl because we've heard these different timelines, and he's a workhorse, so I do trust he'll be doing everything in his within his own range of possibilities to get back. I'm not saying that the Lions are decidedly worse because of that. I would feel more confident if they had that guy, that presence. The Eagles did it last night without Devontae Smith. The Eagles are doing it as they're watching young guys fill bigger roles and get better as the season goes along under Vic Fangio on that defensive side of the ball. Like Quinyon Mitchell looks like he should be the defensive rookie of the year if cornerbacks were eligible for said award. Like Cooper DeJean looks like everything we believed him to be coming out of Iowa as the great white hope at cornerback, being a guy that is elite in that defensive secondary. And I just keep going back to it's the renaissance of the running back. It really is.
That is the big difference between the 2022 Eagles and this year's Eagles. They have a top 2 running back in the NFL.
Saquon Barkley leads the league in rushing, and it's not very close. I think he has a 200-yard lead over Derrick Henry right now. He had over 300 all-purpose yards last night, which you told me, C-Cat, is what? One of 4 people to do that since 2000.
4 running backs, yeah.
Yeah, one of 4 running backs to do that since 2000, Saquon Barkley, the kind of tear he was on last night. And he feels to be a guy that is so laser-focused on winning. He doesn't care about those statistics. He doesn't, and that makes sense coming from where he started his career with the Giants, where it was just so much misery, so much clawing away to get to 8 wins. You cross your fingers, you get 9 wins, you sneak in the playoffs. He feels so glad to be removed from that situation, the gratefulness he plays with, the joy he plays with, the amount of energy he adds to that offense, that there's just a feel about that Eagles team that makes me more confident in what they can be. Like the best, if we get the best performance out of Philly and the best performance out of Detroit, give me Philly on that Sunday.
You know what you can say about Saquon Barkley, which you can probably only say about 5 guys in the history of the NFL? He takes the top off the defense. I'm going to say it again.
Yeah.
A running back, not in the passing game.
Yeah.
It can be in the passing game. Takes the top off the defense. He turns 10 or 15-yard gains into house calls.
Yeah.
Not many guys extend their deep threat with their running back, and the Eagles are able to do that because he has game-changing speed and make-and-miss-ability.
And to have that guy and have on this same team, right, that kind of dude in the backfield, to also have A.J. Brown, who can win any matchup against any corner in this league, Devontae Smith, one of the best tacticians as a route runner that we have in this league, a Heisman-winning wide receiver, and Jalen Hurts, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, short yardage quarterbacks in the NFL. If it's 4th and 1, 3rd and 2, anything short yardage or goal line, red zone, you have confidence. Like, they have so many ways to beat you. That's why I feel like their only hindrance can be Nick Sirianni.